All right, so we're back for part 2 of my ankle stability series. For this, we're gonna have 4 different exercises that we're gonna use. And most likely you're gonna do 2 to 3 rounds on this, depending on where you're at. And like I mentioned with the first video, make sure that you've been cleared by a physical therapist, doctor, chiropractor before you start doing these, and you're not really in an acute state, meaning you didn't just have an injury and now you're trying to work that out, okay? So, first thing that we're gonna do, really simple, all you're gonna do is calf raises, right? Simply just standing here, coming up to the toes, and then coming back down. Now, you'll notice that I'm barefoot. I was barefoot for the first video, and we talked about kind of working on the toe spreads and walking barefoot more and going towards minimal footwear and stuff like that. For this, I actually want you to do all of these barefoot if you can, or at least have minimal shoes with that. We don't want really thick heeled shoes, raised heel shoes, right? So I'm here simply coming up and then going back down, okay? Coming up and going back down, slow and controlled. We say in MoveNat, speed hides inefficiency. I don't want to see people going like this a whole bunch, right? We want to come up nice and slow, peak. Notice that my toes are spread. Might be hard to see on the video. I do have my toes pretty spread for this. I'm going to come up, I'm going to pause for a split second, and then I'm going to come back down very slowly, right? So I'm not just going to drop down. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 for that. So 2 seconds coming up, 1, 2, 2 second pause, 1, 2, come down 2 seconds, 1, 2, just like that. For this, 10, 15, maybe 20, depending on where you're at, okay? We want to feel it in the calves, obviously, because we're doing a calf raise, right? But what I'm really looking for is, can I stabilize that through that range of motion, okay? Like I said before, speed hides that inefficiency. A lot of times people are coming up and they're just dropping back down. They're missing that stability part of the movement for their ankle, okay? So that's gonna be the first one. Like I said, 10, 15, 20 reps on that. After that, you're actually going to balance on one foot like this. Now, if you're just on the balance side, right, I could do this 20 to 30 seconds. Can I just hold this position? Foot forward, foot neutral, maybe I'm standing up on something so the foot has room to hang down. I could bring it back behind me and just hang out there. You might just do the hold. Like I said, 20, 30 seconds. But for this, so you could start there, but I want you to slowly progress to, I'm actually here, I'm gonna tap the toes. The furthest I can reach them with my body upright, meaning I'm not trying to stretch my body out or lean forward, right? I'm gonna tap there with the toes. I'm gonna pull them back around, and then I'm gonna tap the top of the toes back here, right? So ball of foot or the bottom of the big toe right there, or the other toes as well, and then I'll reach back and I'll come here. You're gonna feel that because as I'm doing that, obviously my center of gravity is moving around, and you're gonna feel the ankle having to stabilize the rest of your body through that range of motion, okay? So tap here, nice and controlled, back here. Same thing, I don't wanna just go like this, right? And do quick taps. I usually want my arms relaxed also, unless I am going off balance and need to use this for a little bit, but I want to try and bring them back to a relaxed position and try and center all of that, okay? As you wrap around, you should feel your glute as well. So as I'm here and as I come back around, I should feel that glute fire right here. That lets you know that you're in the right position with that. Bonus being that I'm actually working the glute a little bit as I'm doing this. Glute is reflective of ankle stability and strength, okay? So with this, I like to pair these, and it's really about this point, depending on where you're at too, that I might start doing some glute exercises along with that. I do have some videos for at-home glute exercises that you can do. I'll link to that at the end of this video, but it's really good to pair with this, okay? So we have that. I'm usually gonna do anywhere from 5 to 10 of these taps. And like I said, that depends on where you're at. Keeping in mind that it's forward and the backward position, that counts as 1, okay? So hit that forward and then come back, hit that back one. That would be 2 for me, right? So that'll be the second exercise for you to do. After that, you're gonna do a king deadlift. And you can stand close to wall if you need it, or a countertop or something like that if you need a little bit of assistance. And that's where I would actually put my hand here for a little bit of assistance, or like I said, a tabletop or something like that. If I'm facing forward though, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pick one leg up, this knee is gonna bend, I'm gonna keep neutral, so I'm not gonna round my back, and I'm simply going to reach to the outside here, making sure that that knee doesn't collapse in, right? I want it stacked over the toes here. I'm gonna reach across like that, and then I'm gonna come up and place that other foot. Not only does it require a lot of ankle stability and strength with this, but also you're getting hamstrings, glutes, hips, all these other things as well. So we're working everything upstream from that, okay? So here, and if you know how to do intra-abdominal pressure, diaphragmatic breathing, you wanna make sure that deep breath through the nose, fill this abdominal cavity with pressure, hold that pressure, come across as far as you can, this hand goes back, right? This foot hangs out and it kind of twists to the side here. I don't really reach it out. So from the side, I don't reach it out. It kind of just hangs loose here, comes here, and then I come up like that. I'll show you from this side as well. So this arm kind of comes out to the side as a balance here, and then I pick up and I come up. Focusing on keeping the spine as neutral as possible. You might see a little bit of rounding, and that's okay, but I really want to stack everything, and I'm not going to bring my head forward or tilt it back. I'm trying to keep all of that neutral. Here, up, and at the top I usually squeeze the glute. I will place my foot down at the top of every movement. If I do want more of a challenge, I can resist that. That way that ankle doesn't really get a break. Maybe I do it for a couple, and then I have to take a break. Really up to you to kind of feel that out with that. And we're working on creating the arch of the foot, right? The arch is an action, it's not a part of the foot, right? So when I'm here and I actually start to do that, what you'll see is I plant all my toes down to make sure that I'm firm to the ground, and I create a little bit of torque with the knee, because I need to keep that knee out. I don't let it collapse. If my knee collapses, so does my arch. So you'll see that resistance where I'm actually twisting the knee to resist that, and now my arch is formed. And then when I come down, I maintain that arch here, okay? And then I stand up, okay? So we're working on that. You should feel all the musculature of the foot holding to the ground with this, all right? Now for this, you're gonna do in between 5 to 8, depending on where you're at, right? You could do 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Somewhere in there, really more as a strength training exercise for the foot, okay? And everything else upstream with that. So make sure that you hit both feet. You are gonna notice a difference, right? Between each foot. I am stronger with my left when it comes to stability than my right? I'm still decent with my right, but I have a little bit of glute weakness on this side. My theory on this is that because I'm right leg dominant, I use the example of kicking a soccer ball, right? If I kick a soccer ball, I'm gonna kick it with my right foot because I'm right foot dominant. But what's my plant foot? What's the one that's always on the ground for a movement like this and actually stabilizing for the movement, right? So it's gonna be this left leg, but I'm gonna be using more of my right hip. So my right hip is stronger, the front part of the hip, to hinge and kick, right? But this one's always stabilizing. So you might notice that difference. And when you start to actually move, now my big push now for myself personally is to push to switch that up, right? Do movements where I'm gonna actually be on this right leg and have to stabilize more with this one, because like I said, the weaker that ankle is going to go upstream, okay? So make sure you hit both sides. After that, the last thing that we're going to do is a one-leg Romanian deadlift, okay? Same thing, you could use a wall or a countertop or a tabletop for assistance as a loose guide where I'm here, right? And if I was here, that hand would come here, right, to help out a little bit. For the RDL, the one-leg Romanian deadlift, I'm here. I want to keep neutral. I could keep that hand there, and then I could come up. A couple things with this. One is still working on the arch, right? Working on really the hamstring with this as well. You're gonna feel a pull in your hamstring. I think of those little birds that like teeter and like hit keys and stuff like that, and they just go back and forth, kind of like a seesaw. It's the same thing where that's a straight thing. What I see a lot of times is people go like this and like that leg's not fully extended, they've rounded their back. We don't want to do any of that stuff, okay? So as I'm here, right, I reach through the heel, and if I can only go here and remain neutral, right, that's fine. Stop wherever you're at. Don't push it so that you're here and now you're collapsing or you're rounding your back or you can't keep that back leg straight, right? Make that adjustment so you're not putting yourself in a compromised position, especially if we've just started doing these ankle stability drills and the ankle's still feeling a little bit weak. I don't want to push what I'm doing and then just re-injure that area. Or it's too much for it and you're really holding it in a constant inflamed state, so it's never really going to get better as quickly as you want it to, okay? So here, deep breath in the belly as well. Arms are loose, back is neutral, reach through the heel, right? I'm gonna come here, and then I come back up. Control is the name of the game, right? I'm not rushing through this. I see a lot of people that go, and they come up and they're doing this really, really fast movement. That's not enough time for you to really work on that stability side of what we're wanting to get out of all these different exercises, okay? So here, nice and controlled, got that air in that belly, head's neutral, reach through the heel, and then I'll come up. I always like a little bit of bend in the knee. I don't want it to bend a ton as so I'm not going like this, right? But I don't have my knee locked back. I actually have hypermobile knees, so I don't want mine back like that because that creates problems. And I don't want it 100% straight, right? I want a little bit of bend, okay? Which is gonna pull some of that tension that we're building and put it more towards the muscle belly of the hamstring instead of the insertion points that are back here on the back side of the knee, okay? So, like I said, with that, 2, maybe 3 rounds total, okay? With the RDLs here, I'm most likely gonna do 8 to 10, okay? If it's too much and for you to do like this without any assistance from a wall or anything like that, maybe you do 5 and then maybe you have to come over here and do the last couple where my arm is fully extended and it's just my fingertip, right? And now I'm coming and doing it that way, okay? So you hit your 2 to 3 rounds. I'll most likely have another video in the next couple weeks. Sometimes I get behind with some of this stuff, but hopefully that helps anybody that's wanting kind of that next level of exercises that they can do that work on that stability. Like I said, I will have another video and we'll keep going with this series, all right? So if you like the video, hit the like button for me. Hit the subscribe button if you want to continue to follow along. And like I said, I will actually attach that video, like I mentioned earlier, for everybody at the very end here, so you can click and watch on that, all right? So thank you so much for watching. Check back soon for that 3rd video in this ankle stability series.